Hello, friends. Chris Coursey here, president of Thrive Today, and I want to welcome you to the Relational Skills in Real Life podcast. I'm glad you're here. Today's topic is why is offense so hard to recover from? That's right. Why is offense just so hard, so insidious, and so difficult to recover from when we've been hurt and wounded in some way? You see, offense is a very painful experience and it can be very difficult to recover and bounce back from. And friends, I've been on both sides of this problem. I've had wounds from people in positions of authority, and I've been in situations where people were wounded by me as a leader. Feeling offended is a complex topic, so let's first tease out and define what we're talking about here with offense. Offense happens when our trust, our values, or our expectations are violated, which leads to pain. In today's focus, we're going to really hone in on the offense caused by leaders or the people we put our trust in. And this kind of offense is particularly painful because it involves a breach of trust in some way. And friends, there are many ways the people we look up to and depend on can cause offense. These can be church leaders, these could be our parents, even political leaders in some way. And this means that we're hurt when we feel that others have dismissed us or overlooked us in some way. We may feel left out, we may feel replaced or discounted or disregarded in some way. Possibly we feel the leader has not been tender with our weaknesses, or maybe they broke our trust in some way. We may feel that the leader has run us over and failed to take responsibility for the pain that they've caused. We can be left feeling like roadkill. And friends, there's nothing fun about feeling like roadkill. So the wound of offense is very difficult, but it's also very important to understand because it often looks a lot like anger or judgment on the surface. But underneath this, it can have hurt or shame or rejection or the pain of unmet needs or expectations. In pastoral care, offense is one of the more common relational wounds that people carry. Offense is not a small thing, and it can be terribly painful. It can even be life altering in some way. These wounds can run deep. But the point I want to make today is there are many reasons why we can feel offended, but the million-dollar question is how do we best handle this injury that we've experienced by someone we trusted? So the wound of offense is not simply an irritation. It carries with it the pain of relational rupture. And this makes offense a personal injury that has attachment pain. And attachment pain is the pain we feel and experience when others do not value or honor the bond that we have and they don't honor or respect our desire for relational connection. So we feel offended when we perceive someone has let us down in some way. And this lens of attachments and bonding is important for this discussion because it doesn't always get a lot of airtime when people talk about dealing with offenses. But sharing a bond with a leader ties into our attachment history, where we have either felt seen and valued by another mind, or we felt overlooked and unimportant by a person. And friends, who likes feeling unimportant or unwanted? So there are good reasons for why we feel the way that we feel. And the problem here is that we just may not fully understand our upset or our distress, but we can be guaranteed that there are valid reasons for our feelings. So we want to use some curiosity in connecting with people we trust who can help us be able to better navigate this terrain. And one of the big challenges we have in dealing with offense is that people get stuck in enemy mode. And in enemy mode, this brain state is where people feel like enemies that we need to conquer or avoid, or in enemy mode, we feel like people are problems we need to solve or remove. So enemy mode makes everything harder. It contributes to a lot of bad decisions when we feel offended. Enemy mode puts blinders on us because we can't always figure out who we are and what we need under these circumstances. So when we're stuck in enemy mode, we can feel confused about why we're so upset or reactive. It's not a fun place to be. We may also turn to old patterns and old tools to deal with this attachment pain that we're feeling. Some of us turn inward and attack ourselves, blame ourselves. Some of us turn outward and make it our mission to exact revenge and injure someone else so that they can understand the pain that we feel. Both are mostly very unhelpful options. So I want to suggest we consider a third option. And we're going to talk about this third option soon, but I want to share an example of a time I felt offended by a leader. And I can remember a time that I confided some information with a leader. I shared some thoughts that were very important to me. And later on, this leader used that information to make himself look good, which deeply hurt my heart. I felt like my trust was broken by this leader because he came across as having this profound realization from God and this profound revelation from God, when in fact he was just using the information that I shared with him. I felt so betrayed. I felt so hurt. And I've just found like I lost my peace. But the way that I found my peace again was to see some of what God sees. And I could see that this person was very immature. And I felt like God really comforted my heart by saying, "Do you think that I can't bring good out of this situation?" And in many ways, I felt like the man was a child in the big person's body. And I actually ended up feeling some compassion for him. So that helped me forgive him. Did I trust him again? No way. But I could forgive him. So using relational skills helped me to navigate the situation. So I found peace and relief from my pain, but it was not a fun experience or wasn't easy to navigate because I really trusted this person and he let me down. So this third option I want us to consider today is when we feel offended, I want to encourage you to think about embracing offense as an opportunity to deepen your healing by using this as an opportunity for growth and healing. There are many things we can do to find healing and relief from the pain of offense. And you know, we're going to actually we're doing an event on May 7th called The Pain of Disappointment When Leaders Let Us Down. So there's going to be a lot of really good information in this event that we're going to cover that I'm not really going into today. But today I just want to really highlight the need. It's often an overlooked ingredient, which is learning to stay our relational selves. The life model would call this acting like myself, to capture the meaning behind our ability to stay relational and be our flexible, compassionate selves in ways that we really reflect our true hearts. So we want to remain our best selves by staying curious and resourceful. We want to highlight what we need as we navigate this terrain that can often feel very rocky and difficult. So we want to slow down and come up for air. The worst thing we can do is to react in enemy mode. So we want to practice some quieting and calming to get our body and nervous system back in a state of shalom. The presence of peace is key to navigating the pain of offense. Anytime we lose our peace, we want to get it back. So think about what helps you get your peace and hold on to it. And the lack of peace is what puts us in enemy mode. And when we're in enemy mode, we lose our peace. So we want to be curious about what God is doing, what God's up to in the situation. And we want to get relational and interact with the Lord about what's important here. And rather than using self-justification to defend ourselves, we grieve and we reflect our true selves when we mourn. And we want to identify what is it that our best self would do under these circumstances. So there's a lot more helpful information we're going to talk about in the event, but I just want to highlight the significance of learning to hold on to peace and to stay in your relational sweet spot when you're dealing with offense. When we lack God's peace, we end up saying and doing things we later regret. And this brings us to our application step with a brief exercise. So for this little practice step, I want to encourage you to get relational, get some of your peace going by reflecting on God's closeness or times where you felt God had given you a gift. And as you interact with the Lord, just say, "Jesus, who needs my forgiveness today? Am I holding a grudge against someone that you want me that you want me to know or to give you? What am I holding on to that I can trust to you today or lay at your feet today? Who can I be praying for, Lord? And who can I be bringing to you in prayer? Is there anyone I'm holding a grudge or anyone that has been injured by me that I can make right?" And so we want to just interact with the Lord a little bit about what does he want you to know and what does he want to give you today to get your peace. Now, I want to encourage you to visit THRIVEtoday.org to find more about this event that we're doing, The Pain of Disappointment When Leaders Let Us Down, on May 7th. And if you're listening to this afterwards, you'll find it available as an online course as well. So all that good information is at THRIVEtoday.org. Friends, this is not easy ground to deal with and navigate. So it's my prayer that this is the start of something good for you today.